In terms of hardware, this has got to be one of the best, most premium, state-of-the-art TVs you can buy. It's the Sony BRAVIA 8 II. Unfortunately, Sony kind of just snatched defeat from the jaws of victory at the last second with the way they've set this up. And we'll talk about that later with some charts and crap. The good news is you can still get to like near perfection if you know what you're doing. But before all that, let's unbox it and see if it's different than the one that I have at home from a year or two ago. Based on this, no. This is a back panel. It's gonna clip on the back and cover some of the cables and crap. And I'm just saying it looks similar to the one I have because it has this checker pattern. What else we got? More of the same, but smaller, strippy version. Woo. Feet, I'm a wall mounty guy, but these are cool because they can go at different heights. I'll show you that later. They're metal. Quick start guide. The remote's in here. Whoa, this has got to be recycled plastic or something because it's got that speckle pattern that you see, you know, with the recycled shoes. I'd rather it was like titanium or something really premium feeling, but I guess if they're gonna cheap out, they can make me feel good about it. This thing actually has some really cool features that I'll tell you about later that I never heard of before, even though they're not new to this model. Wow, turned out I didn't even need to make my own sound effects. Yeah, 90s kid. Looks kind of small, hey? 65-inch these days. Some guys have 120-inch TVs at their place. I can't compete with that. Showing you how the legs go on, super simple how the two configurations work. So in the low configuration, you're gonna be in the top two, and you can see how there'll be very low clearance between your TV console and the TV itself, just this much. And in the high configuration, you're gonna have that much space, so you could potentially fit a soundbar under there. For I/O, we got a couple of USB ports that you can plug random stuff into. We got actually the power button here. So like the actual on TV buttons, there's a single button and it's back here, not on the bottom or the edge like you normally find. Inconvenient, but I guess it's there. Then interestingly, there is a hardware toggle switch for the microphone that you would use for, you know, talking to an assistant or potentially for calibrating the speakers that are on board here. We'll talk about that later. You can turn on or off, which is actually nice. Digital audio out, and then 4 HDMI ports, 2 of which are 2.1 with the 4K 120, and one of them has eARC. Then you've got your LAN port and some, you know, remote ones so that if you want to put in an IR sensor, which I actually have in my setup, you can do that. And then finally, you got your little your boomer nub at the bottom. All right, finally we can get this thing turned on and see what's on TV. Oh look, it's our sponsor.
D-Brand. They made me record these talking points last minute, so as a thank you, I'm gonna phone these in a little bit. Black Friday sale, up to 50% off site-wide. Not bad stuff, there's some good stuff. Ghost bundles, grip bundles, 40% off, $45 off the kill switch kit, free deck of cards, slightly less overpriced stickers. Description, link, something, go click.
They're asking you, is it on a table or is it on the wall? The TV speaker sound will be optimized based on the position of the TV. So what I'm assuming is that they're assuming if you put it on a wall, your TV's gonna be closer to the wall, really hugged up next to it. So that's gonna be a different kind of sound profile than if it were on a stand, presumably farther. However, you actually might wanna choose wall mount if it's on a stand really close to the wall. And you might wanna choose tabletop stand if you've wall mounted it, but your wall mount sticks out far from the wall, like mine does. At least our current situation is clear, that's on the table. A note about the TV's onboard speakers for a second. This is the type of TV where the speakers is actually the whole screen glass vibrating like this with 2 actuators. In addition to that, it has 2 10-watt subwoofers. And one thing that's cool is you can actually do like a room correction calibration during the onboard setup right here, which is gonna use the microphone in the TV and maybe even the microphone in the remote, so it knows where my main listening position is. Let's see. Hold your TV remote at chest level and point it towards the TV. She's done. What is this? You consent to Samba TV collecting and processing viewership information from this TV. Why would I accept that? What do I get? You know, from the kindness of my heart, you know, here's my data, you go make money. No, man, save and exit. There is an app you can download where you can change the TV settings and You can use it as your remote in case you lose this and the couch cracks, which happens on my couch all the time, but I'm not looking at it right now because I don't want to connect my Google account to it, because then I'll be talking to my Google Home at my actual house and it'll think I'm talking about a TV that I don't actually own anymore. And there's a feature to find your remote and make it beep, which is critical. I'm not speaking from experience, I promise. How about some content? Look at this thing. It's a 4K, this is the 65-inch, HDR, Dolby Vision, QD OLED. And it looks fantastic. It is so sparkly, so bright, so vivid and black, and I can't even talk straight because I'm watching it. It's so good to watch. Talking about brightness, there are brighter TVs on the market, but we tested the brightness here and it's plenty bright. Up to 2600 nits in HDR on the vivid mode, which I personally wouldn't use, but it's still around 2000 nits on more professional modes. In SDR, it drops dramatically down to, around 800 nits. So if you're watching, TV like Friends in a really bright sunbathed room, might not cut the mustard for you. Your mileage may vary. Looking at how saturated and bright that is, my first question is, what mode are we in now? When it comes to the modes, the first interesting thing is that weirdly, there's modes that are nested in modes. So for example, we're in the video/images content type right now. In addition to that, they have game and they have PC. And so within each of those content type buckets, there are different modes. In the PC bucket, there's one mode. In the game bucket, there's two modes. Like each of them has a standard one. And then there's of course the picture and images bucket, which has many modes. And we are currently in the standard. I just feel like they could have been like a normal TV and had one bucket, but okay, whatever. For each of those buckets, they all have a standard one. So if you make tweaks to the standard mode, you actually have to make those tweaks in each bucket. Not to mention, okay, there's also different inputs. And on newer TVs, when you tweak the settings of whatever mode, they're usually particular to that input. So if you go to another input, you'd have to change it there too. Although on this TV, you can check a box to apply to all inputs, which actually is really nice to have that flexibility. So we're in the video and images bucket. And just one quick note, look at this little toggle, adjust only for YouTube app. That is kind of sick, actually. I like that because I have found that on my Bravia, only on YouTube, I have a desync with the mouths moving and the sound I hear. If there is a setting to fix that now, and I can apply it just as app, that would be helpful. All right, here we are, finally. That's a cute bird. Picture. We are in standard mode this whole time.
Hello there. The first time we uploaded this video, we got a lot of feedback about our testing methodologies. We decided to re-upload it with this section to help add some clarity before James gets into the lab testing results in a second here. When we evaluate a TV, we use the industry's long-established color matching function, the CIE 1931 2-degree standard observer. It's dated and not perfect, but it's the reference that the majority of reviewers, and as far as we know, calibrators and TV manufacturers still use today. A newer model, the CIE 170-2 2015, was created with a variety of goals in mind, including to better reflect how our eyes perceive narrow band light sources like those found in modern OLEDs. But while it offers some theoretical benefits, it hasn't been widely adopted, and depending on who you ask, it may come with undesirable trade-offs of its own. It's been suggested that Sony may be tuning certain recent TVs towards behaviors that align more closely with CIE 170-2. That isn't necessarily a bad thing. If true, it would simply reflect a particular design philosophy. Some people prefer that look. However, at the same time, some people find recent Sony TVs a bit too blue for their liking. For our video, we tested the Bravia 8.2 based on the CIE 1931 CMF, so the results are consistent, repeatable, and comparable across our entire dataset. This wasn't because 170-2 or other models for that matter are invalid, not at all. It just means that we, and most of the rest of the industry, are still evaluating moving to it. And CIE is still working on improving things, so it's possible an even more different standard will be set in the future. We'll let you know, and if and when we make a change here, it will most likely be in an lttlabs.com article. Our goal is to give viewers trustworthy data that aligns with the broader testing ecosystem while still acknowledging that your personal preference is what ultimately matters. Measurements can help, for sure, we do them, but they're only part of the battle. Visual evaluation is highly important, and if the standards evolve, we will evolve with them. But until then, consistency helps ensure that when we say a TV measures well or poorly, it means the same thing across every video. This also means when James alludes to this TV not being accurate out of the box, he just means compared to the 1931 CMF, the general industry standard. Other publications have shown it testing differently against some other standards, however, so it's a bit of a mixed bag on the testing front. But what isn't much of a mixed bag is basically everyone thinks it looks fantastic. And this is why, as we have always said, you should check out multiple reviews, or unboxing pluses in this case, before making a major purchasing decision. Go out there, watch or read a variety of reviews, get a variety of perspectives, then make your own informed decision. Or even just use those as a baseline, then go to the store and make your final decision in person based on what you like more. Now back to James.
So let's see how much more drab and not sexy it is if we go into cinema, which is more accurate, and professional, which is the most accurate. Show me that razzle dazzle. I mean, yeah. It's still amazing. It's still great. It wasn't just vivid mode. The reds are especially just really awesome, and the yellows. And that's a QD OLED thing.
Vivid mode.
You want to see vivid mode?
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's eye searing. The brightness is just flying now. Holy. If you focus on just one color, it kind of just like gets your rods and cones all f***ed up. It's honestly, guys, this applies to everything I'm seeing, and especially this mode. You can't even see what I'm seeing. Yeah, this is nuts. You know what my first test track would be? The 4K Blu-ray, Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, Bridge of Khazad-dûm, You Shall Not Pass. The fire from the Balrog is insane. Ah! You can just see like all the heat on Ian McKellen's face. It's like, cinema, absolute cinema. Vivid mode is fun for some people. A lot of people buying this TV though are probably going to be purists who they want to see the creator's intent. The closest thing to the creator's intent is going to be the professional mode. However, that doesn't mean you have to use it. It's kind of like listening to headphones that are really bassy. If you like the way it looks, good for you. You're weird though. Let's talk testing some more. I said in the intro that this TV like is so close to being the best, and it's because hardware-wise, you can get really great results, and we were able to get really great color accuracy out of this once we calibrated it. You can see we had delta E's of less than 1 once we calibrated it. Most people aren't calibrating their displays though. They're using the values that come out of the box, and the out of the box here is, in my opinion, a bit disappointing. It's not bad, it's good even. It's just not great until you get a color monkey or you just manually do it yourself, which you can do, or you hire somebody. It's just disappointing to see that it seems the white point they chose is just kind of skewed pink a bit, and it's just throwing a lot of stuff off. My theory is maybe they're trying to differentiate these displays from the WOLEDs where the reds aren't as good, and so they're just trying to jack those up, which is very appealing, but it lowers the actual accuracy. What we have is the professional mode, which is, in my opinion, less than professional, but it is the best mode on this TV, so I guess use it. Did you see that bird's face? Look at this cutie. I should take a moment just for those of you who have never had an OLED or don't really know what that means. Look at this. Look at this. It's amazing. The inky blacks. So the difference between an LED or mini LED and OLED really comes down to, with an LED, the light is always shining from the backlight and it just gets blocked. The liquid crystals, they twist to block the light. And so that's why when you enter a dark room, you can still see it kind of glowing. You just know the TV's on, even though it's displaying full black. It's because there's light shining from the backlight. But on an OLED, they turn the emitters right off. It's literally just not on. And so it's as black as the glass is. That's why they look so awesome, especially in like night scenes where there's just only the moon illuminated and it's shining bright. Everything else can be so black. I love OLEDs. Everyone should get one if they can. Let's evaluate the speakers real quick. I would never suggest that you use the onboard speakers, especially with a high-end TV like this, but let's give them a listen. Woohoo! All right, do not go above 50. I think it goes to 100, but geez, this sounded really distorted and harsh. I think it sounds okay. A lot of people will just use it this way. I recommend, obviously I'm like a home theater person, so I recommend at least getting bookshelves, maybe even a sound bar. But as far as TV speakers go, it could be worse. I think the screen time limiter scheduler is a cool feature though. So basically you can make it so you can't use this TV during specified hours unless you like enter a pin. And that is really cool because in my house, there's, you know, no TV after 7 p.m. kind of thing in the lead up to bedtime. So I'm totally into that. Now we got the PlayStation 5 connected to this puppy. And you can see that the content type automatically switched to game. So that's gonna be lower latency, which is important because the standard latency we measured on the video mode was poop, but totally sufficient when you're watching a movie. And the lag is way better when you're in these modes. So it automatically switched to that. The question we have now though, is if we put a movie into our PlayStation, will it switch back automatically to a video/images mode? It did. Here we go. Just launching the Plex app, not even launching content, has switched us back to the video images content type. Okay, that's cool. Let's go back to gaming. Wait, Lord of the Rings. We gotta see it. Vivid Hobbits, let's go. Woo! I'm getting a tan. Oh, this is sacrilege. Oh, we wired the Ethernet now. This should improve things because we're wiring through the PlayStation, which has gigabit Ethernet. Whereas if we were just wiring the TV, that actually might be slower than your Wi-Fi because the TV Ethernet ports are generally still 100/100, which is just insane and criminally low and not sufficient for like a really heavy bitrate 4K Blu-ray quality movie. Come on. I refuse to turn down the quality. But anyway, back to gaming. Whoa, that was crazy. Did you see that? The colors just changed. I went in the menu, it still looked all vivid, and then when I hit play on this game, I saw the color shift because now it's gotta be back in the game mode. Let me just rattle off a bunch of gaming features. With the PlayStation specifically, there's auto HDR tone mapping. With any gaming, it is G-Sync compatible, but not FreeSync compatible because it has the HDMI form variable refresh rate and not VESA adaptive sync. And one of the coolest things is with the PlayStation and with this TV, you can do remote play. So I don't have a PlayStation, but if a friend with the PlayStation came over, did not bring their PlayStation, but brought the controllers, we could play their games on my TV, which I think is amazing. YouTube quick search, gaming multi-view on YouTube. Oh my God, okay Zoomers, get ready for this. This is a YouTube multi-view mode where you could choose to have Subway Surfers on half your screen while you're gaming, or you can choose to do what I've done, which is pull up a walkthrough for the game I'm playing. You can also hit the menu button on the remote to choose which audio you hear. So you can actually balance the audio between the two sources, that's cool. Now you don't need to have multiple TVs if you just want to play video games and watch sports at the same time. In terms of pricing, $3,300 USD for the 65-inch and $2,600 for the 55-inch. They're not the cheapest TVs out there. In fact, they're among the most expensive TVs out there. As someone with a version of this TV that's just 1 to 2 years old, I'm definitely not gonna be upgrading. But if you're coming from something that's like 5+ years old, this is gonna be a game changer for you. I will say, when I upgraded to my QD OLED BRAVIA from my W OLED, I believe it was like a 2018 LG, once I put it in the color accurate mode, I could not tell the difference between the two sets. And you would expect that I had more drab colors from just the lifetime of that TV. It really is only in the vivid mode that you're like, wow. So yeah, if you have like a 3-year-old LG OLED, probably wouldn't upgrade it either. So thanks for watching ShortCircuit, guys. If you're looking for a TV that has more wife acceptance factor, namely the frame TV, watch my unboxing of that. It was very fun. I'm not gonna spoil it though.